Let's be honest, America, we're in a bit of a pickle. We're used to being the world's leading superpower, the big dog, the one with the most toys in the geopolitical sandbox. But lately, it feels like someone's been slowly letting the air out of our inflatable Uncle Sam. Now, I'm not saying we need to go full Make America Great Again hats and start building walls out of expired stock options, but it's time to acknowledge the elephant, or perhaps the slightly deflated bald eagle in the room. There are some serious risks to America's global standing. From pandemics to cyber attacks to a political climate that makes the Middle East peace process look like a walk in the park, the challenges are as numerous as they are daunting. But don't worry, this isn't one of those doom and gloom videos where we all end up living in a dystopian wasteland ruled by sentient toasters. This is about identifying the problems so we can start finding solutions, because ignoring them won't make them disappear. It'll just make them someone else's problem to solve. Remember the COVID-19 pandemic? Yeah, fun times. Turns out when a deadly virus is rampaging across the globe, it doesn't exactly inspire confidence when the world's supposed leader is more concerned with tweeting conspiracy theories than coordinating a coherent response. Look, pandemics are a global problem and they require a global solution. When America, with all its resources and expertise, stumbles, it creates a vacuum. And that vacuum is often filled by countries more than happy to step in and offer their own brand of leadership, even if it comes with some questionable human rights policies attached. This isn't just about saving lives, although that should be reason enough. It's about maintaining our credibility on the world stage. When we fail to act decisively and effectively in the face of a global health crisis, it undermines our ability to lead on other issues as well. Think of it like this. You wouldn't trust a surgeon who keeps fainting at the sight of blood, would you? No, you'd want someone who's calm, collected, and knows how to handle a scalpel. The same goes for global leadership. We need to be the ones other countries look to for guidance and support, not the ones scrambling for a hand sanitizer and hoarding toilet paper. Our response to health crises has a direct impact on our global standing. And right now, we're not exactly setting the best example. It's time to stop treating pandemics like political footballs and start treating them like the global emergencies they are. Our lives and our influence depend on it. Remember that time someone hacked a meat processing plant and suddenly everyone was worried about their bacon supply? Or when a bunch of teenagers allegedly took over Twitter accounts of prominent figures just for kicks? Yeah, those were just appetizers. Cyber attacks are the new frontier of warfare, and they're happening every single day. We're talking about everything from stealing state secrets to shutting down power grids to manipulating financial markets. It's the kind of stuff that can bring a country to its knees without a single shot being fired. And here's the scary part. It's not just rogue nations with questionable hygiene practices that are capable of launching these attacks. We're talking about sophisticated actors, some state-sponsored, some not, who are constantly probing our defenses, looking for weaknesses to exploit. It's like we're living in a digital house of cards, and someone just brought a very powerful fan into the room. We need to reinforce our digital infrastructure, and fast. That means investing in cybersecurity, training our workforce to be more cyber savvy, and developing a comprehensive national strategy to counter these threats. Ignoring this problem is like leaving your front door unlocked and all your valuables on the porch. Sooner or later, someone's going to come along and take advantage, and it won't be pretty. This isn't just about protecting our data, it's about protecting our way of life. Because in the 21st century, cybersecurity is national security. Okay, let's talk about the weather, or rather, the increasingly erratic and frankly terrifying state of our planet. Climate change isn't some distant threat that we can just kick down the road for future generations to deal with. It's happening right now, and it's affecting everything from our food supply to our national security. Rising sea levels? Check. More extreme weather events? Check. Mass migrations and resource conflicts? Check and check. It's like Mother Nature is playing a giant game of Jumanji and we're all stuck holding the dice. Here's the thing. The rest of the world is starting to take this seriously. They're investing in renewable energy, implementing sustainable practices, and working together to reduce emissions. Meanwhile, America, the country that once put a man on the moon, is stuck debating whether or not climate change is even real. This isn't just embarrassing, it's dangerous. Because when we fail to lead on climate change, we cede the moral high ground to other countries. we lose our credibility, our influence, and our ability to shape global solutions. We need to wake up and smell the wildfires, America. Climate change is a global crisis that demands a global response. And if we want to maintain our position of leadership in the world, we need to start acting like it. Chapter 4, The Dragon in the Room, Global Competition and the Rise of China. Let's be honest, there's a new kid on the geopolitical block and its name is China. They've got a rapidly growing economy, a massive military, and a government that's not afraid to throw its weight around. They're building islands in the South China Sea, investing heavily in Africa, and even challenging America's technological dominance. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. Competition can be a good thing. It forces us to innovate, to adapt, and to up our game. But we can't ignore the reality of the situation. China is playing for keeps, and they're playing to win. The problem is, while China is busy building high-speed rail lines and launching satellites, America is bogged down in partisan gridlock and endless culture wars. We're so busy fighting amongst ourselves that we're forgetting to look at the bigger picture. We need to get our act together, America. We need to invest in our infrastructure, our education system, and our research and development. We need to show the world that we're still the country that invented the internet, put a man on the moon, and gave the world the iPhone, even if it was made in China. The 21st century is going to be defined by competition, and right now, we're in danger of falling behind. Chapter 5, The Soft Power Outage, When Charm Offends. You know what's more effective than bombs and bullets? Sometimes it's Beyoncé. That's right, I'm talking about soft power, the ability to influence others through culture, values, and diplomacy. Think Hollywood movies, jazz music, blue jeans, and yes, even Beyoncé. These are all examples of American soft power, and for decades they've been incredibly effective tools of diplomacy. But here's the thing, soft power is fragile. It's based on perception, on the idea that America is a beacon of hope, freedom, and opportunity. And lately, that perception has taken a bit of a beating. Controversial foreign policies, domestic political turmoil, and a growing perception that we're more interested in lecturing other countries than listening to them have all taken their toll. We need to rebuild our soft power America. We need to start living up to our own ideals, both at home and abroad. We need to be the country that champions human rights, promotes democracy, and offers a helping hand to those in need. Because in a world that's increasingly complex and interconnected, soft power is more important than ever. Chapter 6, United, We Stand, Divided We Fail, Polarization and the Paralysis of American Power. You know that feeling when you're trying to have a rational conversation with someone, but they're so entrenched in their own beliefs that they wouldn't recognize a fact if it slapped them across the face with a wet fish? Yeah, that's America right now. We're more divided than ever, and it's not just about politics anymore, it's about everything. Vaccines, climate change, the designated hitter rule in baseball, you name it, we're arguing about it. This level of polarization is more than just annoying, it's dangerous. Because when we can't even agree on basic facts, it becomes impossible to have a productive conversation, let alone solve complex problems. And in a world facing existential threats like climate change, pandemics, and nuclear proliferation, we don't have time for this nonsense. We need to find a way to come together, to bridge the divides that separate us, and to start working together again. Because the only thing more dangerous than our enemies is our inability to see past our own differences. Chapter 7, The Inequality Time Bomb, How Internal Divisions Threaten America's Global Standing. America, land of opportunity, home of the free, and increasingly, a place where the gap between the haves and the have-nots is wider than a canyon filled with avocado toast. Look, economic inequality is nothing new, but it's getting worse, and it's starting to have a real impact on our global standing. When a significant portion of our population is struggling to make ends meet, it undermines our credibility as a model for the rest of the world. It also creates instability at home, making it harder to focus on challenges abroad. We need to address income inequality, not just because it's the right thing to do, but because it's essential for our national security. That means investing in education, healthcare, and affordable housing. It means creating jobs that pay a living wage and ensuring that everyone has an opportunity to succeed. Because a strong America is a fair America, and a fair America is a more secure America. Outrow the road ahead. Reclaiming America's global influence. So there you have it, 7 risks to America's global influence. It's a daunting list, but it's not a hopeless one. America is a resilient nation, and we faced down challenges before. The key is to recognize the problems, to have honest conversations about them, and to work together to find solutions. We need to invest in our people, our infrastructure, and our institutions. We need to lead with diplomacy, compassion, and a commitment to a more just and equitable world. Because the future of America, and indeed the world, depends on it. Curious about how America can adapt to these risks and reclaim its influence? Stay tuned for our next article, where we'll explore strategies for strengthening America's position in the global arena.